New president, new policies. Let's talk about it on Today in Mortgages. Hey, what's going on, Dreammakers? Welcome back to the show. We're talking about what's real, what's hype, and what you should actually be paying attention to out there in the world of mortgage and real estate news. It's Today in Mortgage. Rich, we got a new president coming in January. How do you feel?
A new old president. Not old as in age, but has already been president. So pretty
That's
interesting
right.
what's happening.
Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting week, no matter where you land on the spectrum. But one of the things that we're concerned about here is housing, obviously. And so there was a little bit, but not clear agendas in the kind of campaign cycle about housing. But now we're kind of going to start to get down to brass tacks. So, Rich, we found an article today from CNBC that says, here's what the Trump presidency could mean for the housing market. So, Rich, we're going to go through these piece by piece. But the first thing is deregulation to increase affordability. Is this something that we can look forward to under a Trump presidency?
Yes. Yeah. He says that's what he's going to do. He's going to need Congress's help. But that would be great. Listen, I just had a long conversation with one of our builder partners last night. And I said, hey, listen, I'm going to talk about this. Give me your insight. And, this article addresses like 25% of the cost of a new home is around regulations and red tape and blah, blah, blah. He kind of disagrees. He is a Houston builder, a Texas builder. And, Houston, the city of Houston and the state of Texas it's a relatively easy state compared to most to do business in. So he was saying that while, yes, there is some red tape, it's not that expensive. It's a very small piece of the cost of the home. He says maybe 10%, where this article is suggesting 25. He said the most frustrating is that the time it takes to get developments approved. Just in 2019 took around 15 to 18 months to get that development approved. Now it's taking 3 years. Wow. And that is in a business-friendly city and state. So imagine what that's like in, other areas of the country. So that's where President Trump could really make a dent.
Yeah, because in order to bring down the kind of escalating cost of homeownership, we have to have more supply. That supply can't come online fast enough. I mean, you're talking about 3 years. Things that enacted today wouldn't happen until almost the time we have a next election. It would still be an issue. So hopefully,
time is money.
Hopefully we get that cleared up quickly. So, Rich, the second point in this article is the impacts on construction workforce. Obviously, there is some talk about deportation, especially here in Texas. The kind of home building workforce is notoriously Hispanic. Talk to me about what impacts this could have.
Yeah, just in the construction industry, over 30% of construction workers are immigrants. Now, whether they're here legally or not, we'll see. But that would have a significant effect on construction, on builders, because if, you pull out even 10% of those folks, you're limited. Now you're talking about having to pay higher wages for other people, because keep in mind, less than 3% of all American workers want to be in construction. Now, thanks to people like Mike Rowe, the dirty jobs guy, he's talking really building about technical skills and getting out there and, building a career using your hands. That would all help in this area. But if immigration gets a big crackdown, which it will, it is going to affect the industry, therefore driving up costs. So that's something we need to definitely keep an eye out on.
Okay, so deregulation, good. Impact on the workforce might be a net negative in the near term, at least. And then our final point here is tariffs, the most beautiful word in the world, according to Trump. And so there's good things, bad things about tariffs. Let's talk about it in regards to housing. Rich, what are we looking at?
Well, the U.S. is the number one largest importer of lumber and all wood products. The number one at $40 billion a year. Now, our number one place that we get lumber for is Canada. The number two is China. So if we lift tariffs on $40 billion in imports, we're talking a lot of money and a lot of cost, and that is likely to lift the cost to build a new home, therefore lifting prices. That would be inflationary for sure.
Yeah, Rich, it's interesting to think, during the campaign, we heard a lot about tariffs, blanket tariff, 100% tariff on anything coming in from China. We want to move things onshore to get production here. I'm wondering, when these things shake out, obviously this is speculation, if the administration will be a little bit more strategic on what those tariffs are. Hey, we want to keep, lumber prices, for example, low. The thing with housing is that a lot of the goods that come into housing, hardware for your home, uh, washer dryers, appliances, like all that stuff is made in China, I'm sure. So it's hard to be strategic about that for a specific thing like building houses because there's so many things that go into building a house. So it's going to be a hard thing and a hard line to navigate, feels like.
It is. It's like I understand what he is saying. The problem is, you know, we're in a global economy. Things are built in markets in countries that are either way more efficient and better at building them, or they have much lower labor costs. On the tariffs on the other stuff would be great. Like the idea of putting a tariff and making us more competitive is great. And that's what traditionally tariffs are used for. The problem is, how long is it going to take us to build factories, to build washers and dryers again at the levels that we're buying them at? You know, that takes time. And I think the tariff piece is going to hurt more in the short term than it will show benefits.
Well, we're obviously armchair quarterbacks here talking about these things. And, it's important to look at the macro picture to understand how these things affect housing. Obviously, they'll affect a lot of other areas positively and negatively as well. But understanding that and seeing what's coming down the pipeline for us is important. So, Rich, before we sign off on this, we'll go through these real fast. We had deregulation, we had the workforce, and we had tariffs. Which of these do you think is going to have the most immediate impact? And what do you think is the most important here?
Deregulation. That doesn't, that's the easiest thing to get done, and it doesn't disrupt a lot of other areas. So if President Trump focuses on anything, I hope it's that.
Good word, Rich. Well, thanks so much for making us smart on this, Rich. I know you're going to be on Thursday, so we'll miss you then. But for everyone out there watching and listening, we'll see you next time on Today in Mortgages. Today in Mortgages is produced by Network Funding LP, which is an equal housing lender, NMLS 2297. The content of this program is meant to be a commentary on mortgage and real estate news, and any discussion of rates and or products should not be taken as an individual mortgage or home buying advice or pricing estimates. And any commentary on this show should not be considered a promise to make a loan. All applicants for a loan must qualify, and you should consult a professional regarding your individual loan scenarios for your financial situation. Visit our website at nflp.com/licenses for all state licensing and other legal information.